MDs, this message is only going to you. In this video, you're going to hear about the top 20 earners for the month of June so far. Top 20 earners for the year. You'll see the ranking. You'll see exactly how much people have made so far. You will find out the plus minus for SVP bonus, the $136 million. And the SVPs on this call, on this video, we'll find out about their bonuses as well of growing last year's big event attendance versus this year. Everybody's going to know what exactly that number is going to be. And then we'll go based on that. For some of you guys that were wondering, we were working out of a hotel for the last 4 days. For the last 3 days, Sunday, big storm hit Addison. If you go type in Addison tornado, wind, storm, you'll see it. It's been pretty intense, but we've been at the hotel working. Commission's been hit. Everything's been done. Everything's been finalized, but we finally have power backup. Apparently a lightning hit a power, tower. And then from there, Addison had over 300,000 residential and commercial properties that didn't have any electricity, but we're back up now. Everyone's at the home office. We are good to go. So let me get into it. Look, a few things here I want you to be thinking about. June is already set up to be the biggest month we've ever had in the history of the company, ever. I'm talking ever in the history of the company. Commissions, all this stuff. We're all on track to doing that. I mean, if you see already what some people have made in the first 10 days of the month, you'll be blown away by it. But I want to kind of go back and talk about a few things with you here, numbers wise. Obviously, everybody knows. I hear people telling me that they're running for the 150, 315 to get concierge service at the convention because they want to be able to host the session where they bring up Kobe or President Bush, and they're the ones that brings the gift at the end to give to President Bush or Kobe. But you got to guarantee that slot. You got to do 150, 300 with 15 new checks. And Sapalas told me that their base shop called an emergency meeting with Veronica and a few other people. They called an emergency meeting saying, hey, the same thing we did to at BC. We want to hold an emergency meeting for the base shop to at 150, 315. And they're determined to do that. Same are Vargas's, same are Ricky and Erica, and a lot of other people that are telling me they want the concierge service. But for some of you guys want to get a chance to meet President Bush and Kobe, and you got to hit that 5,100. And some of you guys that do hit that, you know how that works, increments of how many associates you can take with you to take the pictures with you. The after party's in effect. Everybody that hits level 1 GB, you're coming to the after party. You don't hit it, you're not coming to the after party. You hit level 2, you bring 2, and you're level 3, 4, 8, 20. Whoever hits level 5, you bring 20 deep with you. You get the best VIP section if you hit level 5. And the concierge service is going to be whatever you want. You want sushi, you want lobster, you want food, you want whatever. For you, only for you. We'll get you anything you want throughout the entire time. You just simply text. One person's responsibility is going to be a runner for you. Whatever you want, you'll have that service at the convention. And then obviously we have the big event seating based on top 15 base shops. Butts and seats, getting them there on Monday night. So we'll talk about that a little bit on how to do that. And then obviously Million Point Base Shop Retreat started with the first 75 spots. This is going to be the last one ever. And then GB level up 1, 2. I saw Sheena and Matt send their MDs. What would happen if they leveled up 1, leveled up 2? And the incomes are astronomical on the kind of incomes they're going to be making. So it's great to see some of the leaders actually showing their people what could be taking place if they hit their numbers. Look, a few things I do want to talk to you guys about pre-going into these numbers. This week, when we did that MD call, a lot of you guys messaged me afterwards. I mean, we had like 80 messages on the group me because people were blown away by the messaging of, Jamie Musgrove, here's what we did to get Sapalas to the, board council, and then Swazos and Hansberry's and Vic and Ann and Singsons, and how come some other people weren't involved in that list? Why were they mainly those names? Those were the flag carriers. Those were the ones that wanted to pull it. Those were the ones that were really pushing for it. And some are senior, but it doesn't have to do with titles. It has to do with who is a flag carrier. Few people call me and they said, I wish my people would do the same thing for me as they did for them. And I said, you know what? Rule of thumb, for some of you guys that want flag carriers, very simple. Rule of thumb, your people are simply watching at how often you edify up. That's very simple. And by the way, you got to realize people on your team are adults. There's ways of edifying up, and there's ways of taking shots, yet edifying up. Then you're diminishing the whole thing about edifying up. I'm talking edifying up. Like, when's the last time you posted a picture of your upline who ran a Million Point Base shop and post and say how that person's changed your life? When's the last time you did that? That's kind of weird, isn't it? Nope, that's what Sapalas do. That's what Vargas's do. That's what Ricky does. Post a picture with Gaetan, post a picture with Del Toro's. That's what Alejandro's done regularly. That's what a lot of people do regularly. And they'll give love. So, yeah, I know that, but you just don't understand. I said, no, listen, you want the kind of respect without wanting to do the work to get that respect. I said, look, think about it this way. The other part, your associates are not on here. Your base shop's not on here. When was the last time you edified the people down? When's the last time you posted a picture and talked about who below you is doing great? Some of you guys are pretty good at that, but you're not good this way. You're good this way, but you're not good this way. If you want flag carriers, you got to be just as good this way as you are this way. And then this person said to me, one of the people said to me, but I pay for dinner for my upline, but no one sees that. I'm like, dude, you don't do that for advertisement. You do that for gratitude. Yeah, but I wish people knew that I pay for people's dinners. I get it. That's very normal. It's not a big deal to do that. Everybody does that. It's called meal exchange. That's not flag carrier. It's not flag carrier. I love when my team used to talk about me this way. And then 3 people I said the following to. And then we talked about this on the Dream Team call. I said, can you tell me out of the top 5 flag carriers that helped Sapalas become a board counsel, how many of them were part of their first 10 MDs that they have direct to them? How many of them were part of their last 10 MDs that they got direct to them? And we started going through it. I said, Vic and Anna, second 10, okay? Musgrove, second 10 MDs. Danny Singson, second 10 MDs. Swazo, second 10 MDs. Hansberry, second 10 MDs. Well, it's not fair because 2 of those guys he recruited as an MD. You can as well. But Swazo's new. Hansberry was a non-MD, became an MD. Vic and Anna were non-MDs, they became MDs. Yeah, but, no buts. You are waiting for your first 2 MDs to get you to the next level. Or your first 4 MDs, or 6 MDs, or 8 MDs, or 12 MDs, or 10 MDs, whatever the number is with yours. It's the next 10 MDs. So then the challenge was given to Sapalas. And guess what Sapalas are running for? Their next 10 direct MDs. You know how scary that is? They're already crushing everybody by 60% in super base production. They want to go get their next 10 MDs. That's a scary thought right there if they do that. That's when they triple number 2 in super base points, if they continue there. So now, interesting what you're talking about, Pat. Yes, if I relied on my first 2 direct MDs to be anybody, I would be out of business today. I'd be selling memberships today. If I relied on my first 4 MDs alone, we wouldn't be where we are today. Or the first 6, or the first 8, or the first 10, or the first 12. No way. It's always the next. Imagine PHP right now without Marvin and D. Just try to visualize that. Take them out. It's different. Take Sapalas out of PHP. Very different. Take certain people out of PHP. It's a very different company. It's a very, very different company. Take Singson out of MSM. It's a different board council run. Take Hansberry's out, take Swazo's out, take Musgrove's out. It's a different. So the same thing I'm trying to give to every one of you guys. If you're trying to get to the next level, you need to go get your next 10 direct MDs, not the first 6, not the first 4. And then things change. Ricky and Erica, if you were to ask them, they have 15 direct directors to them. Make a list of the first 8 directors versus the second 7 directors they got. See which ones are outperforming the other ones. Lomeli's made $34,000 in a month. They're the last 6 direct MDs that promoted, 7 directors that promoted. What happened there? You become better as you're building a bigger base shop. People are coming out of a bigger base shop. They have bigger expectations. They have to do more because your base shop was bigger. When people come out of a small base shop, they just kind of think it's okay to also run a small base shop because they came out of a small base shop. Big base, come out, big base. I got to build a bigger base. I got to build a bigger base. Gaitan comes out of my base, 325, 288,000 points. Why? Because he came out of the base. Very simple. You see that, you get bigger and bigger and bigger. So anyways, having said that, I want you to be thinking about that as you're going into your run because this will be a very weird month. I want to show you a couple different numbers here before we get into these SVP bonuses and all this other stuff. I want to show you some of the tours, some of the cash flows, and we'll get right into it. So let's start off with Super Base recruits so far. Super Base recruits, what it's looking like so far for the first 10, 11 days of the month. You got Len Cooper is at number 10 spot with 41. Then Ricardo Lopez Nieves, 45. That's a slow start, but 41. Nieves, 45. Ricky Nerca, 52. Pelayo, 60. Graziani, 61. Alejandro, 64. Sapalas, 77. Gaitan, 98. Del Toro's 104. And Vargas is 117. It's almost a race between these 2 guys to see which one of them is going to get to board council first and which one of them is going to get to $1 million in a month first, production-wise, 1,000 recruits at $1 million in production first, and also $1 million your income. You'll see what's taking place on this side. Now that's Super Base, okay? That's Super Base. Take a look at income. This is top 20 income for the month of June so far. Number 20, Musgrove, $12,000. Hart, $12K. Castro, $12K. Castro, $13K. This is in the first 10 days of the month. So Cobos, $13K. Alejandro, $13K. Serna, $14. Marroquin, $14. Suazo, $14. Cooper, 16. Del Valle, 17. Corman, 18. Terrace, 19. Ricky Nerca, 19. Phelps 24, Pelayo 27, Orozco 27. Orozco, regular MD, $27,000 out of Phoenix. And by the way, Orozco, with Zaldo, he's kind of kicking Zaldo's tail lately. Zaldo, just so you know, Orozco's kicking your butt. And I think it almost seems like you're okay with it a little bit, but Orozco's doing great stuff. We're really proud of him. And then we have Del Toro 30K, Vargas 34K for the first 10 days of the month, Gaitan 41K. It's a little bit of separation here income-wise, 41K, and then you have Sapalas 47K so far for the first 10, 11 days of the month. Now let's look at for the year. Remember, end of this month, the first 6 months cash flow stops. So Orozco barely made it. By the way, 21, rank 21 is only $1,000 behind Orozco. So he's either going to get recognized at convention or he's not. He's right behind Dana Joe. This is the great thing why we came out with the GEB, and that's because we called it GEB, Great Equalizer Bonus, because an Orozco with a small team can compete with anybody who's an SVP or EVP, because he builds big shops and he gets GEB and others don't, and that's what we call it, the Great Equalizer Bonus. An MD can compete with an EVP. Then you have Marroquin number 18, Corman 17, Hart 16, Carla Mitra 15, Mason 14, Del Valle 13. So number one earner in Florida would be Del Valle if it ended today, but they're very close. Cobos 12, Sinks and 11, Cooper 10. Look, Phelps out earning Cooper. Phelps out earn. It's official. Phelps out earning Cooper. I don't think it bothers Cooper, but I think Phelps is out earning Cooper. Then you have Alejandro. Then you have Ricky and Erica. Then you have Graziani. By the way, Ricky and Erica are only $780 behind Graziani. It was a big separation. Ricky and Erica only $780, not $7,800. That's $780 behind Graziani. They'll be the first SVP to be out earning chairman's councils and being in the top 6 earners. But the difference between Pelayo and Graziani is $80,000. It's a different league here. Pelayo's making a lot different income. So $80,000 difference. Then you have Del Toro, more than Pelayo. Then you have Vargas ahead of Del Toro, but only a $20,000 lead. Can you imagine if Del Toro's out-earned Vargas's? That'd be wild there. Gaitan's passed up Vargas's in income by $19,000, and Sapalos have a commanding lead on Gaitan's. But that's what the income is looking like so far for some other numbers earlier about base recruits, base points, all of that stuff. Everything's first 6 months of the year. So if I'm you, I told you, drive June. June is very, very important. And all of these numbers income-wise is about to change. All of it's going to change in the next 3 weeks. We still got 3 weeks. We still got like 6 updates or something like that left for the month income-wise. This is just for the first couple of updates. So we're going to see how the month ends. This is just the beginning. But this part, this is going to get intense by the end of this month on how people are going to get recognized by convention. Let me show you what commitment people have made for the private jet tour. I was going to say RV, private jet tour. That we're going with these stops and the commitments they've made. Modesto, I did a conference call with Gaines, Sapalas, Ricky and Erica, Del Toro, spoke to Avelar's and Carmen and Amro Sinks. All these guys combined together said, we will have 1,000 people in a room. So next Monday night, I'm in Modesto. If you know anybody in the greater Modesto area, anybody, Sacramento, Lodi, San Jose, invite them to the Modesto BOM. They said they're going to have 1,000 people in the room, right? Gaines, who is the host of that event, said he'll have 20 personal guests, 150 in his base, guest-wise, 50 associates in his base. Carmen and Amro said 20 personal guests, 100 base guests, 50 associates there. So that's 170 people there they're saying they're going to have there. Sinkson said 25 personal guests, 80 base guests, and then 60 associate count. Edgar and Sismai said only 10 personal guests, 50 base guests, and 50 base associates. Ricky and Erica said 25 personal guests, 50 base guests, 100 associates in the base, and 150 in their hierarchy. They're saying they're going to have 1,000. This doesn't include all the other MDs that are there. These are just some of the MDs that I have on here because a minimum of 50 base guests had to be committed, or 40, something like that. 40 base guests had to be committed for me to put it on this list. Anyway, so from Modesto, we go straight to LA. LA said they'll have 1,600 people in attendance. And here's some of the numbers that we have. At the top, Palau has made the biggest commitment so far. He said 20 personal guests, 100 guests in his base. And then he said he'll have 600 guests as a hierarchy. Okafor said he has 20 personal guests and 70 base guests. Richard Cardenas said 35 personal. That'll beat my all-time prior best. I did 29 as an MD, 28 as a non-MD. 35 personal guests, 75 in a base. Kobo said 10 personal, 65 base. Although I think he said 100 to Palaio. I think that's her goal. But she said minimum she'll have 65 there. Gaitan said 1550. C4 said 1050. Solis said 550. David Bryan said 1850. Sears 1550. Terrace 1050. Diana Joe 1050. Hart 540. Coulter's 1045. 10 personal guests 45. Jonathan and Mariah 1035. But we'll see exactly what's going to be taking place. Some of these numbers are small. I'd like to see bigger numbers, but we'll see what's going to be taking place with LA. And then we're going to Santa Ana right afterwards. These guys committed to 500 plus. Wendy at the top. It seems like Wendy's about to be the down. You'll see Monica Sanchez. That's Wendy. When you see that, that's Monica and Wendy. When you see that on the leaders bulletin, they're about to be the number one leaders in Santa Ana. Right now in the leaders bulletin, they are the number one recruiting base shop in Santa Ana. So maybe they're going to take that away from Elvana and Alborzi. But we'll see. Wendy had 15 personal guests, 100 base guests, 100 associates. More than Elvana. Interesting. Elvana said 20, 175. Alborzi said 10, 175. So we'll see what they'll do. So from there, from Santa Ana, we get on the jet and we fly out to Oak Brook, which will have 1,000 guests they're committing to. This will be a board council promotion celebration as well as a BOM to kick off everybody to the big event. Sapala's made the biggest commitment out of everybody. 15 personal, 250 base guests, 150 base associates, 600 team guests is what team guests they're saying they're gonna have there. Vic and Anna 15 personal guests, 100 in the base. Suazo said 10 and 100. Hansberry said 10 and 80, slightly less than Suazo. That means if Suazo's do 100 and they do 80, they're kind of like saying we think a little bigger than you do. But that's Oak Brook for you. I don't have all the other MDs. Those are the MDs that I have so far. Now let's go to Virginia. Will be the last one. We have to change the location from Annapolis to Virginia because the hotel that we had doesn't fit everybody. So now we're in Virginia. Here's what it's looking like. Marvin and D made the biggest commitment. 12 personal guests, 90 in the base, 75 associates, 120 hierarchy. Hart 1075, 3150 hierarchy. Alejandro 1050, 70. Corman and Scott said the same thing. 5 personal guests, 25 base guests, 40 base associates. It sounds like neither one of these guys wants to beat the other one. I'm looking forward to seeing one of these guys beat the other one. Obviously, this guy is crushing this guy in income, but we'll see what's going to happen. I know they're both competitive, but one of them is going to be the lead dog in that state. They said 530. So for those of you that I'm stopping by your area, just remember that I like people who keep their word. And when I come to these stops and we're doing dinner afterwards, at the table I'm only sitting with MDs who did 2550 last month. Okay, 25 recruits 50. Or when I get there, you're already at 2050 to sit at dinner because I want to talk to you guys. All the people that are traveling with me, whether it's Sapala, Palaio, Ricky and Erica, Vargas, Del Valle, Gaitan, I'm forgetting a couple names, so we got a few people that are traveling with us. All the people that are traveling with us, they will be spending time with your top inviters that have a minimum of 10 guests. The only non-MD that's going to sit with me is the number one inviter with a minimum of 15 guests. If nobody has 15 personal guests, they're not sitting at my table. It's very simple. I do not want to sit with non-MDs that did not have 15 guests, and I'm only sitting with one of them. I want to spend most of my time with the MDs that are in town there to speak to them, and I want to see your plan going into the convention, and I will see your plan leaving the convention for the rest of the year. That's what's going to happen on the tour, so it's not going to be a bunch of non-MDs around me. I want MDs around me with your plan sitting right next to me. We'll have a conversation together. And all the people that are traveling with me, they can spend time with your people that have 10 or more personal guests. 10 or more personal guests. This is not going to be people just coming down. And I'm telling you right now, 10 or more personal guests, they have to qualify. Don't try to wing this here because I will call you out on the video in front of all your peers. This is a standard. Don't drop the ball and say, well, this guy had 7, but he's really trying. Nope, 10 personal guests. Simple. It's the standard. And you got to respect the standard. 10 minimum personal guests to come to dinner. You want to have a dinner with your guys, you can do that. If you don't want to do, you don't do it. But if you do it, it's a minimum of 10 personal guests. These events, I want them to be packed because we got Bush and Kobe, President Bush and Kobe coming to our event. The world's got to find out about what we're doing. So anyways, having said that, let's get into some other numbers here that we're looking at. The first numbers I want to look at is the plus minus numbers of each hierarchy to see which one of you guys are on track for the $136 million. And I'm going through somebody that has any SVP that's on track, minimum 75% on all 3. Then I'm going 3, 2 categories, 1 category, then 0. That's what we're going to measure that. So let's take a look. The first person we're looking at is Alejandro. Alejandro is the only hierarchy that is on track with a minimum of 75% on recruits, points, and new checks. And one of them is over 100%. So let's take a look at what the top 5 golf score looks like. Here's what it's looking like. Number one is Ricky and Erica because it's plus minus. So think about it. 2018, they did 252,000 base points. This year, they're at 689. That's a plus 437. They're number one, 173% growth. Casey and Mario were not MDs last year. They're plus 64,000. They're ranked number 3 because of golf score, but in this category, they're ranked number 2, okay? Elvana is in this category because she's 50% to Alejandro, so she would only participate in 50% of whatever the bonus would be for here, and the rest would flow for everybody else, but she would be second place in this category, but third place on the entire golf score. Then it's Melissa Lopez. Look at that. Melissa Lopez, most of you guys don't know who Melissa Lopez is. She's number 3 in golf score, and then it's Lomelis at number 5. Melissa number 4, Lomeli number 5, Luan number 6. If Luan's try a little bit harder, they can move in. Beatles also in the race. Eric Garcia, you're so much closer, but you got some work to do. 86%. Remember, you have to be 75 to 99% to get the bonus. 100% is the next tier, then 125% is the next tier. Recruiting, they're at 97%. And new checks, they're at 108%. So they're at the second tier, the bonus here. First tier, really close to second tier. So if it went like this, Alejandro would be getting the massive check, then Ricky and Erica would be getting the second biggest check, then it goes down from there. So that's BFG so far. And by the way, the reason why Ricky's in that, because at that point, when we announced this, Ricky and Erica were only EMDs, now it's an SVP, so next year will be a different story if we ever did something like this again. Marvin and D are the second ones here because they're plus 138 in production, plus 94 in recruits, and plus 52 only in new checks. So they got work to do there. But if it ended today, Nori would still be number 1 in golf score, and then it would be Miguel Caminero, then Brianna, then Zoila, then James, then Azier. So you're on track to get the 125% comp on this, which this is the biggest one. Then recruits, you're at 94%, then new checks, you're 52%. So it's going to be interesting to see who gets the biggest check here, but it's very, very close on how this could look. This is a small net SVP, which means anybody can still fight to be first place on golf score with this, but we'll see who's going to do anything about it. Okay, next, Rodolfo and Ceci Vargas, they're at 113% for production, very impressive, 82% in recruits, and 64% in new checks. So they got to work on this, but 82, they got 12 more to go to 100% and 12 more to go to 125%. If it ended today, number 1 is Marroquin. Let's see how close. Oh, it's not even, oh, got it. Undisputable number 1 is Marroquin. And then, and by the way, Marroquins, yep, let's see what it is. Okay, checks, Renee and Dalila can take that area. Renee and Dalila are number 2. Then it's Natalia Suazo Banegas. Then it's Marcelo Vargas, number 3. Then look at this. Gabriel Ramirez Nieves out of Puerto Rico is number 5. Vera 6. He wouldn't get a bonus today. This is very interesting, Vera. I'd be studying these numbers, taking screenshots and studying these numbers. And then Cesar Celicis coming up, and then you see the rest. That's Rodolfo and Ceci Vargas. Gaitans, they're at 77% in production, barely in it, but they're in it. Recruits, they're only up 47. And new checks, they're up exactly 75%. So if it ended today, you would bonus here, you would bonus here, but you wouldn't bonus here. Here's top 5 golf score. Number 1 is Alborzi. Wow. Phenomenal Alborzi. Number 2 is Carla Mitra. Great story. Then Elvana. Then Mario and Sandra Reyes. Then Patino. Something tells me by the time it's over with, Wendy Sanchez is going to be competing here. Maritza and Craig are number 6. Then Sabatimani. Then Lori Tarango. Interesting. Take a look at this recruiting-wise, plus minus. Take screenshots. We're going to send this to your SVPs, and they can send it to you for you to look at exactly where you're at. So next, Del Toros. The team points, their net SVP points are up 85%. That's bonus. 95% is bonus. 72%, man, you were so close for being sweep on all 3. And number 1 would be Renee and Dalila would be number 1. They would bonus on 2 different categories, okay? Number 1 in golf score here, plus minus, they'd get a bonus here. Then it's Cuartas, then it'd be Rojas, then it's Banegas, then it's Murguia. Interesting. Then it's Perez. Other people can compete for this as well. By the way, everything is being measured. These are not $2,000 checks, by the way. I hope everybody realizes. If you're in the top 1 spot, 2 spot, you're getting some nice checks. Palayo up 42% in points. You guys got work to do. Recruits 34%. And new checks, you're exactly at 76%. So one of them you got, but the other 2, I hope you guys take pride in wanting to compete. But if it ended today, number 1 golf scores, Obi and Jennifer Erosi. Then it's Alan and Alicia Diaz. Look, both new MDs. Imagine if he didn't promote two direct MDs. New MD. New MD. Look at this. The top 4 plus minus are all new MDs. Remember how the whole story about Sapala's first 10 MDs versus last 10 MDs? You're seeing it right here. Then it's Terrace. Then it's Godinez. Then it's the rest of the names. You see how Cobos is not in here? Because it's plus minus. If we did Cobos, who was the biggest, she would automatically get bonus. But she's got to work, because without work, it's only at 42%. If you want to work, you got to take that to 75%. So that's Palaios. Now let's go to Cooper's. Production only up 32%, recruits only up 31%, and checks are up 90%. But if it ended today, Corman, your number one golf scorer, then Rayford, then Maritza and Craig, then Helen Burton, then Joe Warren. Then you got the rest of the names. But you got to make sure this increases. I'm not sure how often Liberation is tracking this. I don't know if the MDs are getting updates or not on this, but we're going to give it to you and see if Len's going to do anything to help with us with this base shop. We'll figure that part out. Okay. Next, we are looking at Diana Joe. Points, 71%, they're up. Recruits, 53%, they're up. And new checks, 67%. It's up, but none of it is bonus quality so far. Solis, number one, biggest growth. Let me see if it's even close. Yeah, it's close, because one of the areas he's not ranked first. New checks, he's not first. And plus minus recruits, he's not first. Gaines is first on plus minus, yep. Number 2 is Orozco. Number three is David and Kaylin Gomez. Then Alexis Pelaez, then Jesus Maciel, then Madrid, then Gaines. It's going to be interesting to see if Cornerstone's going to finish off the year in bonus on any of these categories. They're growing. 71% is still growth. 53% is still growth. 67% is growth. But it's not at the pace of what the company is doing right now. So maybe they got to pick it up a little bit. We'll see what they'll do. Phelps are not up on anything. Points, 50% growth, 28% growth, 33%. By the way, in an average company, this would be Celebration, but it's not in PHP. In PHP, it's 75% growth. That starts the lowest level of bonus comp. Orozco would be bonus here as well. Then Zaldo, then Carla Mitra. These two guys that came from the same company, man. The question is, who is more competitive, man? Orozco or Zaldo? We're going to find that out. Or even Chapman's. I don't even see Chapman's on this list. Maybe those two guys are more competitive than Chapman. I don't know. Carla Mitra's third, and Ellen Javier Castro fourth, Gloria Guerra fifth, and then it's Tarango. Very interesting. Okay, so let's go to the next one here. Is this the last one? Yep. No. Wait a minute. I got to have a couple more here. I haven't covered Kahindi. I have to have Kahindi. Kahindi's going to be somewhere. I'll look for Kahindi here in a minute. Oh, there's Kahindi. Yep, there's Kahindi. I have Kahindi right here as well. Okay, Graziani, 35% in production, 35% in recruits, and 60% in recruiting. We'll see if these guys are going to compete to increase these numbers, but these are just the numbers of what it's looking like. Coulthard, number one, plus minus. Let's see if Coulthard's on number one golf score. Nope, Coulthard's on number one in plus minus recruits. Interesting. All right, so we'll see. They're number 3 in base production plus minus because Gordillos beat them. So have Trailers by only 300 points, by the way. But golf scores, Gordillos number 2, Burton's number 3, Magpanti's number 4, Ali and Angel Saldana are number 5. Impressive. So Terrazas is right there. But Terrazas, they gotta do more to be able to compete with the rest of these guys and be in the top 5. But we'll see what's going to take place here. Is EIB going to recover and want to compete? Or is it going to be one of the lower growing gears and hierarchies? We'll see what these guys are going to do. And then Kahindi is production minus 34%, minus 23%, plus 42% in new checks. But if it ended, first place would be Gerda, then DeGiuste, then Altima, then Ross, then Audrey Jackson. Gerda's kicking everybody's butt. And on plus minus, DeGiuste is ahead of Altima. Interesting. DeGiuste is ahead of Altima, huh? It's pretty interesting to see a number like that for the year. Yeah, DeGiuste has got more base recruits for the year than Altima does. I thought Altima was beating DeGiuste in every category. I guess he's not. Fernando Ross, and then Audrey Jackson, and you have the rest of the names. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, guys, about. This is the big event bonus that has to do with the net SVP bonus. We did this last year. For some of you guys, if you remember, it was a $500,000 pool. We're doing it again, even though we're doing the $136 million. We're doing a Bumblebee. We're doing the crazy lineup of speakers. I said, if we said we're going to do it this year, let's do it again. So we're doing it again. So here's how it works, just so everybody knows. Your numbers are the following. In 2000, I'm going to show you the net SVP numbers on exactly how many butts and seats you had. And you got to beat that by Monday night with your associates being there by a minimum of 75% to participate in the bonus. So for instance, Everett's had 235 people at attendance last year. in 2018, a year ago from this convention. And if you grow it by 75%, your number is 411. So everybody in that net SVP should take pride in this number, 411 butts and seats. 470 means 100%, and 529 means 125%. So assuming you do that, you would become 5.29% of PHP. Your bonus if you hit tier 1 would be $5,200. That's cash bonus, no chargeback. Your tier 2 would be $13,229, and your tier 3 would be a $26,000 check given to you. By the way, they got a $26,000 check last year themselves because they grew. And if they do it again, they're going to get another check on top of everything else that they do. So it'll be interesting to see if these guys are going to compete for that or not. Del Toro's last year had 284 net SVP. 75% is 497. 100% is 568. 125% is 639. They would make 6.39% of the net SVP. So at that tier, they'd get a $6,395 bonus if they did 75%, $16,000 if they hit tier 2 and grow by 100%, $32,000 if they grow tier 3 and have 639 people in their net SVP, butts and seats. So Rojas, Campos, Murguia, all of you guys watching this, that's the pride about what you're going to be doing. Donna Joe, last year they had 363. 75% would mean 635. 100% would mean 726, 125% would mean 817. And if they do that, that'd be 8% of PHP. That'd mean $8,100 bonus check for tier 1, $20,000 for tier 2, and a $41,000 for tier 3 if Cornerstone can drive butts in seats to the big event. We'll see what they're going to be doing. By the way, they got an opportunity to have better seating as well collectively if they do it, but we'll see. Then you have Graziani EIB that 527 last year butts and seats, 75% of that's 922, 100% is 1,054, 125% is 1,186. That would make it 12% of PHP. Tier 1 check would be 12 grand, tier 2 would be 30 grand, and tier 3 would be a $59,000 check if they hit 1186. They're great drivers, great promoters, but you got to have big recruiting numbers in June to get into it. And they can definitely pull it off if they want to. So that's Graziani and EIB. Palaio had 473 last year, 75% is 828, then 946, then 1,064. That's an 11% bonus, 11% of PHP. Tier 1 will be $11,000 check, give or take. Tier 2 will be $27,000 check. Tier 3 would be a $53,000 check on top of everything else. Then we have next one is Gaitan. They did 410. His 75 would be 718. 100 would be 820. 125 would be 923. That'd be 9% of PHP. Their net SVP check would be $9,200, $23,000, or $46,000. Look at it this way. If they hit this bonus, it's as if we're paying for the Lambo. It's as if we're paying for the brand new Lambo Huracan he just got flying on the freeway 0 to 60, 2-point-some seconds. Kennedy Thomas had 185 butts and seats last year. 75% would be 324. 100% would be 370. And 125% would be 416. It'd be 4.1%. Tier 1 is $4,100. Tier 2, 10 grand. Tier 3, $21,000. Now let's look at Glenn Cooper. They had 329. They could absolutely crush that number if Len drives with his base shop. 576, 75%. 100% would be 658. And 125 would be 740. That'd be 7.4% of the company. $7,400 check. Tier 1, $18,005. Tier 2, $37,000. Tier 3. And then we have Rodolfo and Ceci Vargas at 559. Tier 1 would be 75%, 978. Then 1118, then 1258. And that'd be 13%. It's a pretty big number, by the way. 13% just net SVP. Tier 1 bonus is $12,005. Tier 2 would be 31. Tier 3 would be a $63,000 check if they hit 1258. They could hit that number, by the way. Then we have Sapala 680, 1190 is 75%. 1360 is 100%. 1530 is 125%. That would make them 15%. That'd be the biggest out of everybody. Vargas would be second biggest. Tier 1 would be a $15,000 check. Tier 2 would be 38 grand. Tier 3 would be a $77,000 check. On top of everything else, Delvice had 97. They have 170, 194, 218. That put them as a 2%. Lowest one would be $2,100 and $5,400 and $11,000. And then last but not least, we got two more. Alejandro had 201. And that's not including Ricky and Erica, by the way. So he would have to at 352 at 75, 402 at 100, 452 at 125. That make him 4.5%. $4,500 tier 1, $11,000 tier 2, $22,630 tier 3, and last but not least, You got Ricky and Erica. Is 98 is how many they had. They have to have 172 to a tier 1, 196 tier 2, 221 tier 3. That would make them at 2.21%. It'd be a $2,200 check, $5,500 check, or an $11,000 check. Those are the numbers. If you're watching the same pad, listen, I want to be able to have these pictures. I want to be able to have all these butts and seats. I want to be able to, sit front row. How do I do this? I want to be able to, I want to drive all this stuff. What do I do? Same exact thing. When we left Train the Trainers, I said, get between 20 to 40 directs personally between now and the convention. Why? Because it's new people. Remember, the last 10 MDs had helped MSM become a board council, not the first 10 direct MDs. Go on the leaders bulletin, go through all the direct MDs and see how many of the last 10 MDs did versus the first 10 MDs did for the board council run. It's proven. It's always proven that the last MDs you promote are more coachable to you than the first 10. The first MDs think they know everything about you and they don't look at you as like the last 10 MDs are more cool because you're a better leader as well. First 10 MDs knew when you weren't a good leader, knew when you didn't have a lot of money. The last 10 MDs know you have a lot of money. It's a big game. It's a very big difference on you getting directs. Now, like think about me getting recruited in Palau's base shop right now. He's driving a 488 versus getting recruited in Palau's base shop while he's driving an Infiniti. Night and day. Imagine getting recruited in your base shop right now. You have a ring versus getting recruited in your base shop where you didn't even have a watch. Night and day. Imagine getting recruited in your base shop when you got your $250,000 ring, when you didn't even have your ring. It's night and day. It's a very big difference. That's why you go wider now, not before. And it's easier to go wider now, but I'm gonna show you some numbers here. For those of you guys that wanna sit front row, row 1 is $10,000 seats to watch President Bush. Kobe right there, Jordan Peterson, right there. You can have Facebook Live with Kobe the entire time. And everyone's logging in to watch all the people sneaking in to see what the interview's about. You can do live with Kobe. You can do live with Peterson. You cannot do live with President Bush, but you can do live. But you can still watch it 10 feet away from you, watch the interview right in front of you with Secret Service right. And that's going to be pretty epic. You want to sit front row, but I want to show you some numbers. So in here you see that Del Toro's have bought 652 tickets. That's not obviously butts and seats. That's tickets bought. And we don't know if they're going to fill all of them. Will they fill 90%, 50%, 70%? Will they sell some of it? I don't know, but everybody knows. They got 652 tickets bought, and they're great promoters. Hector and Erica are great promoters. So can you imagine if they filled 90% of those seats? Then you have Vargas is at 452, Gaitan 370, Ricky and Erica 332, Sheena Matt at 289. You got Alejandro at 281. Eatman at 259, Del Valle at 234, Palaio at 190, Hart at 188, Rene at 180, good job. And then you got Danajo at 167, Cooper at 143, Alfredo at 138, Graziani at 132. That would essentially be the top 15 right there. That's top 15. I think that's 15. Is it 15? Yeah, that's top 15 right there. Okay, then you got a few other names. Vera, Rojas, Elvana, Marroquin. You can see the names. Now, some of you guys may say, Pat, what if I don't have enough people and I over-rally people? Well, then you're going to be able to buy tickets from some of the guys that maybe have some extra tickets left there. Someone's going to sell you extra tickets there while you're at the event, right? So you look at that and say, well, who am I trying to beat? And what am I going to try to do? How am I going to get my guys in there? Here's what I would be telling you. This is what I'd be doing if I was you. I'd be running a contest. And here's what my contest would look like. If we get VIP row 1, remember, it's only top 15 base shops, butts and seats that get the best seats. But if we get row 1, okay, or row 2, or row 3, wherever we get, anybody that by Monday night has a minimum of 25 butts and seats gets to sit in the front row. And the leaders bulletin I would put would be the following. The non-MD with the most butts and seats gets to sit right next to me, right in the middle when the interview is taking place. Or you get to pick and choose where you want to sit. That is exactly what I'd be doing. I'd have my non-MDs ranking from the highest to the lowest of butts and seats by Monday night when they get there, and they get best seats in the house. So the least person would still sit there with me, but maybe they wouldn't get the best seat in the house, okay? They would get just one of the seats in the house. But I'd be driving the hell out of it with my non-MDs to be competing for that. And by the way, for some of you guys that are wondering what you're ranking, these are all the numbers so far right now, okay? And net SVP, this is what the net SVP is. Obviously, Vargas and Sapalas are at the top. And you know the binocular deal. You got Candy at the bottom, then Del Valle, Danajo, Felk, Graziani, Palaio, Alejandro, Cooper, Gaitan, Del Toro, Sapalas, and Vargas are tied at number 1, but it's butts and seats. So butts and seats, net SVP then picks and chooses, tells us, we want this section, no problem. We want that section, no, and then it's ranking, draft. Which one do you want? We want this, we want, great. Process of elimination, and then obviously for some of the teams, You may not be sitting in the front row, you may be sitting in the back. So if you're sitting all the way in the back, like let's just say you're Marvin Del Valle, Howard King, you may not be sitting in the front row as a net SVP. I would be competing like crazy to get my base shop there. So at least my base gets to sit front row to watch Jordan Peterson, President Bush, and Kobe. So that would be my strategy with some of these numbers that I'm looking at. And the same would go with my MDs. My net SVP section is seated based on my top MDs, butts and seats, all the way down to the least MDs, butts and seats. And I'm doing the same exact thing because that's capitalism. It's fair to finish it on this stop with you guys for you to be thinking about it. It is, I don't know how long ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, Value Timon had 1,500 subs. And I'm in my office in Glendale. So that's what, four years ago, 5, whatever the timeline is. I'm in my office and I come out and I said to Tikran, to Maral, and to Mario, I said, we're going to interview Mark Cuban. They said, what do you mean? I said, we're going to interview Mark Cuban. Because at that time, nobody believed that we can interview anybody. And I was starting to get annoyed because the belief on who we can sit with wasn't high for people. So I would say something that would roll their eyes out. That guy hasn't even interviewed and he's got 100,000 subs. And that guy hasn't interviewed, he's got 500,000 subs. What makes you think we're going to interview him? Oh, man, we gotta break this idea of not believing. And I sat there and I said, if I don't will this into existence, maybe I'm not going to believe it's possible. And if I don't believe it's possible, how's my team going to believe it's possible? So I said, forget about it. I'm going to increase my willpower by making this happen. And then I'm going to get my teammates' willpower to increase. So I kind of contacted, found this. What's this email? That's not the right email. Found this, that's not right. What's this? So many different ways. Eventually I got a hold of him. Eventually I got on the phone with him. Eventually I talked to him. Eventually we figured it out. Eventually we got an arrangement. Eventually we're in American Airlines Center. Eventually we got past security. Eventually we're in his office. Eventually we're sitting down with him. $3.5 billion guy. Now he's worth $4 billion. And we interview him with only 1,500 subs. How did that happen? Willpower. But did it happen because of something I learned at that time? Nope. Let me tell you how it happened. Willpower is something I built years ago. Willpower was built when I said, I will get my rank. I will run a $1 million base shop. I will run it back to back. I will do 100 recruits a month. We will do this. Will. PHP is 80-90% willpower versus skill. Our skill came later, but our will was solid. So what's the moral of the story about what I'm trying to tell you here? Some of you guys are sitting on your numbers like, I don't have a clue any way for me to do this. You got to will it into existence. You regain your team's confidence by being enthusiastic, optimistic. If you're passive, no one gets excited. Jimmy Carter lost as a president because he was finally lost his enthusiasm. He couldn't get anybody fired up. He couldn't even get on a camera. He lost his enthusiasm. He couldn't will anybody. He couldn't even will himself. Reagan won people because he willed people into believing. Kennedy willed people into believing we're going to land on the moon. What are you talking about? We're going to the moon. By the end of the decade, we're going to the moon. Are you out of your mind? MLK willed. I have a dream that one day, right? Willed people, okay? Willed people. Many of your organizations and base shops and yourself, you're not lacking talent. You're not lacking ability. You're not lacking know-how. You're lacking willpower. And your MDs, your base shop, your non-MDs, your leaders, they need willpower. And it's got to come from you. And the way you do willpower is you put a goal this month in June and you will it into existence. You don't sleep until that goal is hit this month. I know to some of you guys like, oh, here we go again. You don't have to do that. I'm not talking to everybody. I'm only talking to a few people because remember how the call started. I would love for my guys to run for me and help me get a promotion like some of these guys on Sapalos. I would love for you to run a conference call one day on an MD call, and I would love my top 5 fly carriers to talk about me the way they talked about Sapala. Well, Sapala's ran a $1 million base shop 3 years in a row. And the month they hit board council, they did 221,000 points. The number one base shop production was them, 221,000 points. They weren't just relying on their MDs. They did the most. Will. Work on will. And all this other stuff with all these bonuses in place, all of this will change, but it's all about will. Go out there and will your big event. Modesto, Santa Ana, LA, Oak Brook, Virginia. Will it. Will it into existence. PHP is all about willpower. And you do that, then you're going to have your own story like Gaitan's about to have right now, showing you what it looks like to drive a blue Lamborghini. I remember the first time I met Gaitan. Now he's the only guy that's had a Ferrari and he's had a Lamborghini. A blue Lambo, a Huracan? Are you out of your mind? That's 2 point some seconds. 2 point some seconds for 0 to 60. Are you crazy? Yes. And when I met this guy, he drove a Sebring. It's craziness to where he's at today. And Gaetan's all about a will. Marlene is all about a will. All about a will. All about a will. Jose and Marlene, all will. They're all will. We're the 50% team. Willpower. Willpower. Pat, we will do it. We're going to beat Vargas's. There's no way to win. We will win March Madness. We will. Will. $116,000 income. After making $120,000, $30,000 in a month. Willpower. And now helping other people making $100,000 in a month. Willpower. How's your willpower? Is it solid? When you say you're going to do something, do you do it? Well, let's change it now. Let's change it now. Attitude, numbers, especially for those guys that are still watching. By the way, remember, only 5 to 10% of people watch the whole video. For those guys that are watching, if you're going to will it, in the MD group me, message, I will, ... I'm curious what your willpower will be. Anyways, having said that, looking forward to seeing you guys having a good, strong first 2 weeks, because I'm going to do an update video for you guys, probably on the 17th or the 18th, okay? Again, this is only going to the MDs. Let's have a killer next few days here, and let's have a killer month of June. So when you go into convention, you say, this is the beginning of the greatest building years of my life. After the convention. Looking forward to seeing you guys.
Hey team, quick message from my wife and I. Babe, how's it feel to drive a Lambo?
It feels incredible. I remember 10 years ago not having gas money to just go to training, and here we are going from the Blue Lagoon, which is our old car, to a Ferrari and now a Lambo. So just very excited, very grateful.
Let me tell you, guys, I remember not having gas money. I remember driving a bucket. I remember driving a Prius. I remember driving a Chrysler Sebring. I remember driving a Suzuki when our licenses were suspended. Man, before you know it, things change, man. You just got to put your head down like that bull, that Lamborghini, and just charge through life and make things happen, guys. Sooner or later, everything you want will happen for you at PHP. Let me tell you,